Yo guys, what is going on? Nickname is just Yellow, and today this Norwegian hardcore PC gamer is gonna go through how to play the metagame of you yourself in gunfights, how to play all of that stuff better. So I'm gonna cover a couple of things that might be mid-level or really high level, and why I'm saying that is not because they're hard to execute. They're actually rather easy to execute if you want to go for it, but it's rather more difficult to just on a whim use them without thinking in a situation that might give you a lot of great benefit from these kind of things. So the first thing I'm gonna go through is information gathering, which depending on what cover you have, it's gonna be really easy and really good for you to do. So let's say that you have a misfunctioning ladder in some scenarios, at least in the past. I'm not sure if they have patched that yet, Valve, but if you jump on a ladder and then you know, when you are at the top peak of the jump, you hit the ladder, you can actually look up here and not get hit because the hitbox won't really synchronize with your head. I hope they fixed that, but that is, for example, one of the many ways that you can fish for information in CSGO. Another way to just do it outright is to jump up and down. If you spam it, you won't jump as high, so that can be a little bit more safe if you want to continuously look to the connector, for example, or the bomb train. This allows you to fish for information, and you are not that easy to hit. Even more so if the enemy just move out, unless they fucking pre-aim you and then pre-fire you before they can see you and they just guess your rhythm, they won't be able to kill you whatsoever. This is then a really good way for you to be able to either initially find information about the enemy, you know, positions, what weapons they have, how many they are, maybe they're playing all the way up in the heaven area or whatever the hell you want to call that, tower 1, CT tower, you know. All of these things are going to be very helpful for you if you then want to escalate your position further and thus allow you to maybe get a nice win or fuck the enemy's economy up even further. Anything is good though. Moving on from there on out, you can also do other things if you see that the enemy, for example, have an op and they are pinpointing you down. You can fuck with their head by, you know, showing your shoulder, pretty basic stuff. No, everybody should know that you can, you know, bait out a shot by a relatively unskilled player really easily if you just show them your shoulder, making it so that, you know, when they shoot, there's a delay and then you can move out and shoot, assuming that you are already pre-aiming where you know then where the enemy might be at. You can do this also in a like crazy way if the cover allow it to, you know, like show one shoulder each way, which is kind of cool as well. Or you can do something that people with rifles, sniper rifles for example, try to do, more high level people per se, also if you are in a annoying situation, which is to just, you know, do this, like you're showing essentially the barrel in your hands. Now keep in mind that on your arms and legs in this game you don't have armor, so you're going to take a little bit more damage if that do happen, and that can be annoying, but case in point is that you then get their position, you make them shoot. If that is not in eventually where you're gonna appear at, you can easily screw the enemy over. So now let's move over to the execution phase after you've gotten some information of then how you can screw with the enemy. In some places, just, you know, jumping up or shooting like this, it can hit the enemy, it can be kind of beneficial, which normally it should not be at, but as you can see right here, if done properly, it can actually be a little bit lethal and or just fuck you with the enemy. That works then like suppressive fire more than an actual way of killing the enemy, so I would never really recommend doing it more than a couple of times, you know. Essentially turn their aim off, just like with a flashbang, you know, because if you throw a flashbang that might work out, you can easily screw with the enemy's position because they then need to move out, and when they're moved out, it's going to be, they're essentially, it's going to take more time for them to have their crosshair on you. This is very good for you, and is why you might want to, you know, jump up and shoot with them, or just do this, for example, you know, just screw with their head. Moving on, you should now take an aggressive position if you want to mechanically tear down the enemy and you are that confident with your executions of shooting and, you know, sidestepping, counter-stepping, so you stand still instantly. If you're like me, for example, you want to sit down and then move around a little bit, for example, you know, like it makes it so that you're a little bit more accurate, which can be displayed by the view model, just tugging his lovely gun a little bit closer to the body, making it more stable, but also it allows you to spray a little bit more control because you're not aiming as high, and smaller details like that. You can do that easily and then, you know, face the enemy on a little bit easier and then just shoot him down if he decides to appear. This is obviously going to be very different depending on what gun the enemy have, how cocky he is, how he plays stuff, but if you then take a notice of how he executes against you, and if you already have a certain level of success, maybe like 30 or 40%, if you then confidently go in there and you execute his position, depending on all the things that you know, maybe he's a player of habit, he plays the same area all the time, time, it can be incredibly easy for you to be able to smash that enemy's head, which is what I really enjoy doing on this map here. If I'm at coming from T side, I'm running up this little alley right here. Then I like to just, you know, screw down right here, jump out here, and then as soon as I get here, if an enemy appear, I'm gonna dink him. If an enemy decide to go up to the E-box, I'm gonna dink him. Which already then, because of how I play, I've closed down 2 possible ways for enemies to get screwed, or, you know, I'm closing down 2 aggressive plays, allowing me to screw the enemy over even further. And if that does not happen, I can just hold an angle, which makes it even more worse, or even worse, you know, for the enemy approaching this area, or I can execute anything close to these trains. From there on out, the entire play of what I talked about in this video starts, because they could camp anywhere, but, you know, that's like half the game, so yeah, go out there, learn a lot of things. If you see somebody doing something new, try and mimic it and see how well you can execute it, maybe enchant it a little bit, and hopefully you will be able to take on gunfights a lot better than you did before, if you were terrible at it, especially. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you want to support this YouTube channel, we got the Patreon stuff, a lot of nice rewards there for people who are interested in that. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, have a nice day, and don't get beastified when you play, people.